Good evening. Welcome to the Creek podcast. I guess I'm taking the reins again tonight, and we have Miss V on now, and we're waiting for Wendell to come on, who is a gold miner, panner. Lives in Alabama. He started in Georgia, and he's panning in North Carolina now. And
No, we were just talking about North Carolina having the first gold rush.
Oh, I thought. Okay, thank you. So North
Okay.
Carolina had the first gold rush in
That's
1799.
interesting. Thank you for letting us know, Don.
Yeah. Okay.
I love you, buddy.
Oh, so where is he panning now?
Alabama. Hello,
Hey,
Wendell. Welcome.
can you send me the hey?
Hey,
Can you send me the link in Messenger?
you're on now.
Yeah, you're on
Yeah,
live now.
all right. I just want to make sure because if it goes out again, I want to try to come in that way.
Well, get what you can in while we got it. Then I'll send it to you in Messenger while Don runs his mouth if we lose you. Okay, Don's good at. He actually just called somebody a hippie. I'm like, Don, who you calling?
But no, this woman
He's
was
the biggest
she.
hippie I know. He's the biggest hippie I know. Be calling people a hippie, you know you're a hippie. But go ahead, hippie. Do your introduction again, sir.
Okay. Well, we have Wendell on the show tonight. He's a prospector from Alabama. And how many years have you been prospecting, Wendell?
Well, I started when I was about 14. I'm now 63.
Okay. And what type of mining do you do? Just panning or?
Just panning, yes.
All right. And where are you panning now? What?
Right now, the only place close to me is a place called Alabama Gold Camp here in Cragford, Alabama.
Okay. Well, if you could you go over some of the tools and the things you look for when you're out there? Types of ground.
Well, as all the old time miners will tell you, you can find black sand without finding gold, but you can't find gold without finding black sand.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
So black sand is usually in the area of the gold anyway.
Sand is usually in the area of gold.
Got some feedback.
Yeah, I did.
I think we lost him. All right, Don, you carry on. I'm going to send him this in Messenger and go ahead and tell your hippie story.
Okay. As we were talking just before the show started, I have a cryptid theory that I've kept under wraps for a while, but in the late 70s, I knew a hippie couple, and the girl,
You are a hippie. I can't see you, but you are a hippie. Sorry.
Okay. So probably 78, 79, I met this couple, and the woman would always tell me stories about the Hockomock Swamp down in Southeast Mass. And everyone knew about the Hockomock Swamp monster.
And
Is he coming in?
I just sent it to him through Messenger.
Okay. So up until 1980, down in Southeast Mass, in the Hockomock Swamp, everyone knew about the Hockomock Swamp monster, but there was a famous Bigfoot sighting. Mr. Baker was out trapping, saw a Bigfoot, and after that, everyone called the Hockomock Swamp monster Bigfoot. But before that, it was always a monster with a deformed horse's head or a mutilated horse's head, and had hoofed rear legs. The front legs were paws, and they just said they were big paws. So, and it always walked bipedal on its rear legs. So back in those times, the only thing I could relate that to was a little picture of the Jersey Devil. And there's a story about the Jersey Devil that walked through a town after a snowfall, and everyone saw the hoofed prints of a bipedal creature, and they assumed it to be the devil. It had jumped onto a house. Well, they thought it flew. I think that's where the wings came from. But anyway, it jumped onto a house, came back down, and they just assumed it was something else, the devil. So she's telling me stories about her dad and her uncle going out hunting in this area. And one of these creatures, it has a head, she said, a cross between a lamb and a horse. And it's got a mouth of teeth. And I'm pretty sure she said one of them had spikes on its head, like little antlers starting. I don't know if they were just coming out or if that's what it had. But anyway, one had come at her uncle or father, and then the second time it was seen, they shot it. Now, I remember the story, the description of the creature, and her uncle and her dad described it the both ways. And then a couple of years ago, took an encounter, a guy talking about one of these creatures in upstate New York. His buddy, who was a mountain man, was out hunting, and this creature came at him, had hoofed rear legs, paws in the front. It had a head he described like a pig or a goat with fur, and this thing was covered in black fur. So he shot it and killed it. And he described it just as the woman down in Bridgewater, Mass. The legs were built for speed, very healthy, strong back legs, but the rest of the body was emaciated, very skinny. They all said they thought the creature was starving. That's why it tried to attack them. So when I took the story from the guy in New York, one of the things he said was, and they all said that it had patches of flesh falling off of its chest area. They all said the same thing, that the animal looked sick. They thought it was starving, and that's why it came towards them, but they didn't know what it was. So I talked to the guy in New York, and when he brought up the part about the patches of fur coming off of it, that's when I remembered the lady down in Mass said the same thing. So if you ever look up pictures of the Wendigo is supposedly a creature up in this area, but old pictures of the Wendigo show it with its chest, like sections of flesh gone, and its ribs are showing. It's very common in the Wendigo pictures. And some of them get the head right, I think. It's not like a deer. It's more like like I said, the cross between a horse and a goat is what they were telling me. And they said they could smell it. The smell, it was just like rotting flesh coming off of it. So that was a theory that I had kept for quite a while. And the guy in New York had a Polaroid picture of it. He took a picture of it. He ended up calling the sheriff or the game warden, and then two guys in suits showed up with a U-Haul. And they put it in the U-Haul and took off. But when they got out of the U-Haul, they looked at it, and one of the guys said, "These things aren't supposed to exist anymore," is what they told the guy that shot it up in New York. I don't know what they did with the one down in Mass, but that was always the Hockomock Swamp Monster, was a creature like that down there. But my theory is it's the Wendigo, because it fits all the descriptions of the Wendigo back then. And except for a big set of antlers, which are on a lot of the pictures, I do remember spikes. She said one of them had spikes. I think when they killed it down in Bridgewater, they were looking at the body and it had spikes coming out of its head. So that's my theory on the Wendigo.
Well, keep talking. I got Wendell on the phone.
Okay. About it. It had fur like a wolf, like according to the guy up in New York. It had pure black fur, like wolf fur, but in the patches that were coming off, they were just falling off of it. They seemed like it was rotting off, what they said. And I'm trying to remember back to the 70s if this woman had said anything else about that. But she did say her dad said it looked like it wanted to get them. It wanted to eat them. It came right at them. And I know they shot at it the first time. It got away, but the second time they shot and killed it. And they ended up leaving it right there out in the swamp. And they only told a few people in their family. They didn't tell anyone else about it. So, but the sightings of those things stopped probably in the late 70s. I don't know if some sickness came over them, but if anyone looks up pictures of Wendigos, they always like show ribs through the flesh or something, and that's what always reminded me of these creatures. So that's my theory on the Wendigo. I have a friend of mine who has seen what they would call a pugwudgie right probably around 1980, right around the same time. There's an area out in the swamp where everyone goes to have keg parties or just to hang out, have a class skip day or something. It's a nice place to go where you won't be heard. Excuse me. So he was out there one night, and what he said, what everyone thought used to come out while they were having a fire, while they were having a party. This little 3 to 4 foot guy used to come out. All right, we're back.
Can you
All
hear
right,
me
there
now?
you go. Yeah, there you go.
I
You
don't
wanna
have
just-
volume on this thing.
Yeah, you sound. Oh, is the mute?
Well, I
headphone?
am so sorry. This thing, my whole setup has gone crazy tonight. And there's the volume.
Testing.
Now,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I got you too.
Okay. Yeah,
Now-
we can pick it up right where you left off.
I done forgot.
I think the last thing I said was so gold is usually found around black sand.
Yes,
Not all the time in it, but around it.
right. It'll
Okay.
be with the gold. Black sand will be.
Okay.
The black sand can be there and not be no gold anywhere.
Oh, okay. I see.
But
what
I
you're
do have a question. Wendell, for someone like me that's never done it, what do I start out with? What I'm going to you, I'm asking you, this is what I'm interested in. What are you going to tell me my first steps are going to be?
I would suggest you get with a prospecting club that's in your area, like the GPAA. They're national. They're in every state in the United States, and they have a starter kit that you get. They have a book and a CD with every location that they have that you will be admitted to for the time you have your membership. And I'd like I say, do it for a year at least, because it is an expensive outfit. But you have places that you can go to that's close to your house where they can actually give you hands-on training on how to pan and whatever you want to do there. Dredging, high banking, all that.
Okay. Explain it. High banking.
All right, high banking is like they got water being pumped into the top up here, and you shovel your dirt and stuff in there, and it's got some rods that or screen that lets the rocks run off on the ground while the dirt and gold falls through and goes through a sluice box at the bottom.
Like Pale Rider. Oh, never didn't see the movie. Okay, sorry.
You got the
Well, anyhow, after you run the sluice the high banker for a few hours, you can shut it down, clean the mat out of the sluice box into a pan where you can pan it out to see how much gold you got. Which all just about every time you're gonna wind up ending up panning for gold, whether it's from out on the creek bank, starting out just filling the. Yeah, that is a old time rocker box. I think if I'm looking at that right.
I can't get it right.
Yeah, that is a high banker. That is a high banker.
Whatever. Just Google it, y'all. I can't do everything for you. Anyway,
Exactly. Now, like I say, down here at this Alabama Gold Camp, they have high bankers you can rent for the day. They have a dredge you can rent for the day. You go down there, buy your gold pan, spend $5. You spend the whole day down there on the side of the creek, putting dirt in your pan, shaking it until all day long. So
Right.
that's the cheapest place I know of go to. And
Now, I was going to say, do a lot of people buy your sand down there? I know a buddy of mine does a magnet fishing channel, but he's been doing gold panning. But he's been buying a bag of sand.
yeah, you can buy pay dirt offline from a lot of places.
Yeah, I think it came from Arkansas. But
yeah,
he got some pieces in there. He did pretty well.
Yeah, some of the places they guarantee how much gold is going to be in the bag, and others don't. Some of the places are sketchy about putting gold in there at all.
Right.
And other places are really good. There's actually if you do the search on YouTube, pay dirt tests, there are a couple of guys that has been buying the pay dirt and doing it, processing it there, and they give it a rating as to which one does the best.
now I heard where there were coal mines, you would find a good supply of gold. Is that correct?
No.
That is why you're on the show, Wendell.
Kentucky is nothing but a coal mine state. There's not been a commercial gold mine in Kentucky ever. They've never found gold in Kentucky, just all coal. So that shoots that down.
Do you find a lot of success in the small creeks, or if you're going to go to a creek, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for, I try to find out if I'm in the gold belt, as you mentioned before.
Explain the gold belt.
There is a line that runs from up in Michigan down the East Coast, basically, to Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, part of Tennessee, and into Georgia. Then it curves and goes across into Alabama. And I don't know exactly where the goes from where it comes into Alabama, because everything I've found so far, it looks like it comes to a dead end.
Yeah, they've been doing it up here in New Hampshire. Seems to be the popular place, but there's a rock gem store I used to go to close by here, and he was telling me all the rivers in Maine have gold in them. You just got to find it somewhere, and there is a gold mine about 5 or 6 miles from me, an old one.
Well, you're in a good spot then, because if you're that close to where they were actually mining gold, there will be other deposits that are surfaced somewhere close by.
Okay.
So you want to get out there in the creeks, and like I say, where the creeks makes the turns and the gravel bars, sandbars build up. You want to work the end where the bigger rocks are laying, because where the heavier stuff falls out of the stream into the sand is where the gold's going to be as well.
Okay. We had a question come in. They were wondering if there was any gold in Ohio, in Butler, Ohio area.
Google is your friend.
Okay.
There
Butler,
are
Ohio.
the
I think it's flat out there. I don't know. Is it true Georgia has the purest gold?
yes,
I heard that.
99.99% pure.
I didn't know
Okay.
gold could be inbred.
Well, you got look at it this
Impure.
way: you got the white gold, you got the rose gold. That's all different minerals that's in it, causes it to be that way.
Okay, so it's the yellowest, I guess you'd say, or the goldest gold is,
Well,
color.
it's the purest. There's nothing
Okay.
else much in it. Not no nickel, no lead, no copper, no brass, no tin, no silver. It's all gold.
Okay.
According to Google, Butler, Ohio has a history of gold discoveries, including a gold rush in the 1800s and a gold prospecting event called the Gold Rush Days. So there's a history of it there. But
Oh.
you're talking about going. Okay, what's the difference between gold and fool's gold? Because when I was growing up and we would be in the creeks and on the river, you'd see that shiny gold stuff and they'd say, "You crazy, that's fool's gold."
Well,
But now
most
I'm
of
like,
what you see in the creeks is mica.
It's
not
mica,
even
right.
fool's gold. It's not even fool's gold. Fool's gold is
Pyrite.
more,
Yeah.
you're smart.
like I know how to show you that.
Yeah, I've got a piece somewhere too. I used to be into rocks and gems years ago.
All right, that is fool's gold. It
Oh, that's
looks
cool.
it's nice and
Yeah.
heavy, but it's gold is soft, whereas this is hard. It will flake off, break up. You can hammer it into a powder. You hit gold with a hammer, it'll just flatten out.
Yeah.
And like I say, most of that stuff you see floating in the streams is mica.
Yeah. Now, do you go for any gold dust? Is
If
it?
you're panning, you can get gold dust.
Yeah, I saw a lot of it out in Arizona, and I was told to put like a cheesecloth across the stream, and then they said do it for about 30, 40 years before you really make any money.
Well, I've never heard of doing that. Throw my phone over there out of the way where it won't be getting on there. As far as your panning, if you're good at panning, you will catch even the flour gold. It takes a lot of work to get it clipped down to it and keep it in the pan, which you need to get some of that Jet Dry or some other brand of dishwasher liquid that you can spray in your pan when you're panning.
Yeah.
Because your pan, that will break the water temp. You know how the water beads up and you can set stuff on it like a needle and
Yeah. That's
the tension of the water.
Surface tension. Yeah.
Yeah, it breaks that, keeps the gold from floating.
Okay.
So whenever you pan, you put some in each pan. And first of all, when you get your new pans, they're all these plastic ones. They have a oil in them that you need to remove before you use the pan. You scrub it out with Dawn dishwashing liquid and steel wool or some real fine sandpaper because you want to scuff the whole bottom of the pan.
Okay.
Not make no deep gashes. You just want to
Right.
make it a little rough where the gold will have something to actually catch to.
Right. I got a question here for you, Wendell. Where do you sell your gold, and what percentage do you get from it?
The only place I've ever sold gold was at a pawn shop, which wasn't a good idea.
He
So
says,
you
Wendell, tell them women calling, you're doing a show right now. They're going to have to take a cold shower and wait. Amen, Greg. Get on to them. But let's get back to selling
that's
gold.
notifications for other shows is what I was getting. But
you haven't really sold much gold, or
no, every time I've went out panning, I've found a little bit of gold. I ain't never found a whole lot. So I've never sold any of it except for that. For I had a 1 gram nugget, and I was searching for gas money, and I sold it at the pawn shop to get $20.
Right.
So that's the only.
So you're waiting to fill that pickle jar full of gold before you sell it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're going out to look for gold, so what do you take with you? You take a little sluice box. You dig into rocks. You have to move the rocks.
It's gold pan and shovel, because like here in Talladega National Forest and several other places, it's pan and shovel only. Now, if I get out to a spot on somebody's private property, I can take a sluice box or a dredge or a high banker, whatever, as long as they give me permission to get on their property.
Well, when you're talking about, I'll get to William's question in just a minute. When you're talking about when the creek bends, the way the water rushes up is where the gold's going to be swept to, because it's going to fall on the bottom, right? Where the big rocks would be. So
gold is going to follow basically a straight line downstream. Wherever the swiftest water settles, where the gold can land, like if it's in a curve, it's going to be to the high side of the curve. There'll be gold all the way across into the deep stuff, but for the most part, it's usually at the upstream side of the sandbar.
Okay. I was told up here we're iron rich soil up here. To carry a magnet around and look for iron deposits, because the gold will be where the iron deposits in the rivers.
Gold is formed in quartz, not iron.
Right. No, I'm saying the iron will settle in the river in the same spots that the gold will settle.
Okay, yeah, that's
yes.
Right.
So they told me up here years ago to use a magnet going around and look for the eddies and look at holes, because it's really rocky up around here. So there's cracks and holes in the rocks. They said always check the cracks, always check the holes. But in the eddies, they told me to use a magnet and see where I pick up, pieces of iron, and that will be in the area the gold will be.
Yeah, what they call crevicing is where you're working the bedrock in the stream to get the gold out of the cracks of that. That can take anywhere from a little piece of wire with a hook up to a massive crowbar to bust that open where you can get in there and get it out.
Right.
So it takes a while to get the knack of working that. Now I have a one of them DeWalt cordless wet shop vacs. I can take and scraping them cracks and suck that out with that wet vac than pan what I catch in the wet vac out, which makes it a little bit easier.
Right.
William wants to know, has Wendell ever tried gold panning on the Alabama Gulf Coast? The rivers and stream drained from the Appalachia must have been known to have gold. He's
I have not been down there, but that is a good place to work the sandbars as well. And plus, down in that area, you will find a lot of fossils like shark's teeth and other fossils of dinosaur bones and corals and shells and all kind of stuff.
So when you're on the creek digging the gold, this is where my curiosity is. And you're going into the bend of the river. Take us there and tell us what we're looking for. Do you move rocks? How far do you dig? What are you looking for when you dig?
Well, I walked down on a sandbar and I look to see where the big rocks are at, whether they're halfway down, up at the front top, or down at the bottom. Because depending on the water flow during large storms, where it moves, gets the water coming down through there really fast, sometimes they'll jump out of the bank altogether, and they'll have like a little ditch over here that may have the cup gold caught in there. You take and get at the upstream part normally, and you just have to dig down, do test pans as you go, and see if you're finding anything in them. And when you do start to hit gold, that's when you start really working the spot.
So I'll tell you straight up, I've heard of 2 people in North Carolina that sent their kid to college just gold panning up in Uwharrie.
I have heard that too. I've seen there's my club, Prospecting USA, Hunting America's Treasures. I've got a couple of guys in there that has done real good with dredges and high banking and stuff like that. I seen a fruit jar full of gold that they got one weekend.
Wow.
That is massive amount of gold in one weekend.
Were they dredging or were they panning?
They were dredging, but like I say, after they run it for so long, they have to clean the mats into a pan and then pan it out.
I heard those magic mats were the best ones to get to catch the gold. What's your go-to mat?
Well, the only thing I've got at this time is an adventure dang, can't even. I can't even think of the name of it right this minute. I showed you a picture earlier that Dream Mat. Dream Mat has a little 18-inch adventure sluice, and that's what I've got right now. I don't have a different kind of regular sluice box.
Did I say Dream Mat or Magic Mat?
It's
Magic.
You said Magic, but it's Dream Mat.
Well, y'all know I can't walk and chew gum, much less do a podcast. Magic Mat, no, Dream Mat. Damn it, it's the Dream Mat. It's the Dream Mat.
Dream Mat is a product one of my members actually created. Yes.
We got his product in our house.
His name is David Peterson. On one of my podcasts, I have him on there talking. But when he's got that Dream Mat, as far as He's got them you just place them in your sluice box, or he has the sluice box made with a
They got little U's in them. Different
swirls. Yeah.
I got
so you know
quick.
him. I got a leg up on my husband. He bought one of those dream mats, and I'd be like, you know what? I know somebody that knows somebody that made a dream mat.
Yeah. David Peterson in my group, he's the actual guy who designed and made that, and they've become world famous on that.
Yeah. I got a quick question. Oh, sorry.
Can you read it?
Yeah. Squatch Hall is wondering how you can tell the difference in the field between gold and pyrite, fool's gold.
Gold is going to be normally smooth, rounded, or sometimes flat because of being hit by rocks in the water when it's moving. The fool's gold iron pyrite is what it is like I say, it's going to be chunky. Look like most of the time it'd have like flat sides on it or something like that. Then it's real shiny, and if you after you've done it for a while, you can tell the difference between the pyrite and the real stuff.
Are there any chemical tests you can do out there, a streak plate or anything, or for gold is what I'm asking.
Well, pawn shops have a chemical, I forget which one it is, that they use to test to see if it's gold or not. You can take that with you and put it on there. But it's basically, once you get used to seeing the actual gold and pyrite, you know the difference.
Right. Gold's a brighter yellow, I guess you'd say, color. Or can the pyrite get bright like that? Or
yeah, pyrite and gold can be the exact same color.
Okay.
Or the pyrite can look like it's silver.
Well, wait a minute. Gold's supposed to be like 19 times heavier than water. So what's the pyrite? Is that basically the same? Is that
it's going to be? It's a heavier metal, yes, but it's
going to stay with the gold.
Yeah.
So much for thinking there. Okay, Mark Plowboy. Mark says, Wendell, heard they're going to start a gold mine back in, I ain't even going to say that word,
Tallapoosa.
There you go, sir. County near gold, whatever. Do you want to just read it for me?
Well, I seen an article where they was talking about reopening the mines down there at Gold Hill too.
Go ahead.
That's it's been a major producer in the past of gold, and they say they're going to reopen it, and it's several $1 million worth of gold. They say it's still there.
Wow.
Oh, that's enough to fight a bear over.
Yeah.
Art says, Wendell, have you tried any of those vortex related mats or anything close in your boxes?
The vortex is basically what a dream mat is. So yes, they do a very good job. Get the water flow right, where you just fill it. You can shove it straight in the sluice box, and it runs over and washes all the rock and dirt out of there and catches the gold down in the vortexes.
Are they green by any chance?
Green
or black?
They come in all colors.
Okay.
That little 18-inch sluice box I have, it is green. I've seen a blue one.
Okay.
Same. It's a Dream Mat Adventure, and it's a blue. and they have the larger ones, which the little 18 inches are basically good for doing your sampling. You get put it in the creek, fill it, feed the top of it, let it wash through there, and if you can find anything in there, then you get your bigger stuff and go to work.
Right. Do you
Art
take
said-
Oh, go ahead.
uh,
No, I was just. Do you take most of your sand from the shores, just off the river, or do you go right into the water and take your sand?
Some of both.
Okay. It
Go.
depends. Okay.
Yeah, because if
so
I'm
let's-
looking down in the creek up here on the bank, everything looks like it's just more or less sand and small gravel. And I say larger gravel in the creek. I'll get in there and dig in that a little bit and see what I can come up with.
So let's pretend the IRS never see this. What's the most that you've gotten in a day?
Maybe
Bad Vicky.
30 or 40 pieces of small gold.
What's
You
your
just don't-
preferred way? Would you slew or pan?
I like the high banker because you can use any kind of match you can use on a high banker. That way, if you like the dream mat more, you throw one of them in there. If you like the magic mat, you throw one of them in there. And you just basically it'll have a pump that you're pumping water in there all day, and you're shoveling in. So then at the end of the day or halfway through the day, the way we normally do down at the camp down here, when they'll set you up about 9 o'clock in the morning and you run to about 1 o'clock, then clean out.
Okay. So panning is more of a kicked back way of doing it, or more fun if you have people with you. It's less work anyway, right?
There ain't no less work in cold pan. There's not, because you're always digging. You're always shaking the pan. It's just that
Okay.
the separation methods is what works better, like the dredges and the high bankers, because instead of you sitting there having to work all the material out of the pan, you just having to work the concentrates out that they catch in your pan.
Okay.
So you don't have the bigger rocks and stuff like that in your way.
Right.
So Vaughn said it sounds like a lot of work, but fun, I'm sure.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
gonna tell you a true story. My husband's best friend went out and bought all this gold stuff. I mean, like he just went all out and just splurged. The second day they went out, he's ready to sell it all. He said he called my husband the other night and he says, I can't get out the bathtub. he said, ask your wife, does she want to buy my stuff? I said, well, it's used now, so I need to use price for it. But it takes a wear and tear on you, apparently. So.
Yes, the stooping down on the creek banks, trying to pan it and stuff, that is very rough on your back. I've got a little old plastic toolbox that on legs that I carry my snuffer bottles and scoops and all that stuff in. But I can set it right there in the edge of the water with put my boots on, just sit there, and I'm
Phillips the one that's selling his stuff. He just jumped in. That's for
It's for
sure.
sale. Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah,
Phillips.
So do you stay in one spot that you've found gold, or do you bounce around the state?
I like I say, the only place around here that I have access to, because it's a public place, you pay to go in. Uh, uh, you can go into the national forest, but you have to get a permit from them, and it's pan and shovel only. And you just have to hit here and there, and they have places where on their little maps that you're not allowed to pan in the places that you are. So you have to watch that too.
Mark wants to know what's the biggest piece of gold that ever come from a gold camp. Do you know?
I think from the creek down there beside the railroad track, I think they found a few that was a little bigger than a pea.
I'll read it for you, Don. I'll read it for you. Craig says, I've always wondered if the deep ravines in the ocean are full of gold. Yes, they are. Millions of years of it gradually getting washed down from the streams into the rivers into the ocean, gravity pulling it to the bottom. We were watching that
Gold Rush,
Gold-
Alaska.
yeah, I mean that's where they find it in the ravines. They just like 20 ounces in 5 hours, and I'm just like going to Alaska. I already told my husband, I says I'm going to Alaska. I'm gonna go gold panning and get eaten by a grizzly, but
I want to go
there you
to
are.
Australia.
Yeah.
Australia, it'd be cheaper to go to Alaska, sir. I'm on a budget. I gotta
Well,
buy
yeah.
a rack for my roof for my Jeep. I gotta.
They have some humongous gold mines in
Yeah, in
Australia.
Yeah, a guy found one metal detected on the beach. Did you see that one? It was a big old nugget right on the beach.
My husband's got a metal detector that it's supposed to be underwater up to like 12 feet that he can take it under.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do anything like that?
No, I don't go underwater with nothing.
Do you use a metal detector at all?
Yes, I have a couple of the cheaper ones. The last one I bought was a Mine Lab Go 44, and I found a bullet casing 13 inches down in the dirt with it. That's a deep hole for a bullet. But far as gold goes, it would have to be a fairly good sized chunk of gold for it to pick it up. Now, the Gold Fine 66, as I understand, will pick up smaller pieces of gold.
Yeah, I found some gold rings metal detected, and they were way down. Very dainty ones. But I don't know if I could pick up specks of gold, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for is the stuff. Now, I'd like to find a nugget like this one right here.
I'd be your new best friend, brother. So Tammy brought up a good point. She said, I thought gold and silver didn't stick to magnets, but she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And that's not true. Tammy does a lot of good in the communities. I'm trying to get her on the show to talk about the good stuff she does. She even donates police dogs free. Yeah,
yeah. I know they told me to use.
Why do they use magnets then?
The magnets, some of the black sand is magnetic. You can use it to use the magnet to get that out of your way. And if there's any rusted nails or other pieces of tin or steel in there, it'll take that out of there. you want to practice panning, you get you a shotgun shell with them little bitty pellets. You cut it open, get you about 5 of them little old pellets, hammer a couple of them flat, some of them leave them round, and get you some plain sand. Throw the sand and them 5 pellets in your sand, and you practice panning that until you can get just the 5 pieces of lead in the bottom of the pan and everything else washed out. That's the way you practice it.
Oh,
Okay.
but there's a trick to the way you swirl it, right? You want to demonstrate that so we don't get a
There's people who does the side to side shake. There's the ones that does the swirling. As long as you get all the material in the pan to moving, letting the gold settle to the bottom, then you tilt it at a little bit of an angle and you wash off the light stuff on top, and you'll normally start seeing some of the black sand showing up when you're doing that. Then you stop, get it back into the pan, shake it some more until you get all that shook down in the bottom, and then you work it to the side a little bit and start rinsing it off. Now, one of the new gold pans, the Gold Claw, is one that you take and put the material in there. It's shaped sort of like a football, more or less, and you shake it side to side and keep shaking it. And you basically just, while you're shaking it, turn it up sideways until all the light stuff washes out and the gold will still be caught inside of it. That's the newest one I've seen, and it seems to work pretty good from what I've seen.
I don't know if you guys can see this.
Yes, Greg, it is illegal.
What?
What is that?
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah.
My philosophy.
Right.
Is there a particular season
No.
that you seem to be more successful, or it's easier to pan?
You want to be out there when it's nice and warm, where the water ain't freezing your butt off, but you don't want to, but you have to watch out for snakes real bad when it is that warm.
Yeah. Do you go out after rainstorms? Oh,
I have not
Oh,
yet.
is that Roger in the background calling? Roger? God,
Yeah, it might be.
damn it, Roger. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was trying to read what Patrick's saying.
Patrick, my buddy, is saying old churches are good and old home places are good for metal detecting.
Yes,
I
they are.
That's what I do. Old cellar holes.
Old schools, old churches, most, like here around Alabama, the public places are open to metal detecting. Some places do restrict you, but like around the courthouse where I was living up in Heflin, the judge said, "Hey, it's public property. Come on in, search around the courthouse if you want to." And they actually did have some people come in there and found some stuff, and it's on display at the courthouse. So, and then the older the house places, like up there in your area, Don, would be some really great places to search, because
that's
immigrants coming in from overseas and all settled up through that area, and they would drop their old coins and
Yeah, that's where I go to. I go to old cellar holes. Oldest around here are late 16s and 1700s. Most common is 1800 cellar holes. You can find some older ones if you know where to look. But I always ask the property owner if they mind if I go up there and clear some old metal out of their ground.
Yeah.
And I do. I take a lot of iron out. And it's amazing the iron from the 1800s, how well it's still there. I use axe heads from the 1800s. I have a hammerhead I use. I have a sledgehammer. Yeah, I've got all this stuff that you just get some steel wool or a wire brush and it's good to go. But then I lost a pair of vice grips like 20 years ago and they're disintegrated. I found them and they're just falling apart,
I do have a question going back to the gold. When you get enough gold to where you want to sell it, Wendell, how much can you trust the people buying the gold? How is a good way for someone to test the market and make sure that they're getting the right price?
Well, you go online, you look at the spot price. That's what the gold is valued at, like the $3,000, whatever it is right now. And
an ounce?
Yes.
It's 3,000 an ounce.
I think it's I think it was 2,800 actually the last time I seen it, but I have seen it up to 3,000 an ounce.
Phil, if you're watching, I'm going to be at your house.
It goes up and down.
Right.
The price goes up and down, so you have to, like I say, the spot price is constantly changing. It goes up, it comes down. I wish back when I was 17, I'd have went down to the nearest foreign exchange or whatever where you buy the gold coins, bought a truckload of them, because gold at that time was like $200-300 an ounce.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Who has the money though? I mean, really, who has the money to blow like that when you're just trying to keep food on the table and raising a bunch of snotty-nosed kids and stuff?
Yeah. I understand that, but like I say, if I'd
I
had the money back then, I would have loved to got some and had it sitting on the sideline for now. I would be
said, this is what gold's running.
20, almost 27. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, Phil, I'll be at your house tomorrow to get your stuff, buddy. Yeah, that's right, Blackie. Greg, better to ask. Sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness before permission, especially if you got a pocket full of goodies.
Now, for someone that wanted to learn panning in their home, or like someone living in a city, would you recommend one of those bags of pay dirt in a pan?
You can, like I say, you can get those shipped to you, and you get go to Home Depot or Lowe's. They got a plastic tub about that big, that deep for the smallest one is $7 and something, and the biggest one's like $15 or $20. You fill it up with water. You put your gold in your pan, and you dip it in there and work it. You might want to not dump it all in there at one time.
Right.
Just do little bits of it where you say, there it is. I see it. I see it.
Yeah. Like a couple tablespoons in something. Yeah.
And work that, and you learn how to keep it within the ridges. That's another thing. Some of the pans have the smooth sides with just a little hump on them. The old metal ones, for the most part, they just come up, had a couple of little lines goes around the side. Now these are the better pans that you got right there, Miss V.
My
They have
husband got this because I wouldn't shut my mouth about not having a gold pen. So
Yeah, it still has the sticker on it.
Yeah.
$8 and my mouth is shut. So there's that.
Well, like I say, you need to wash it down with the Dawn dishwashing liquid to get the oil off of it. Which,
Yeah.
when you do
I
it,
look like a rookie.
when you wash it down, you'll see how, when you put water in it right now, you'll see how the water just runs off. Everything just runs off. Once you get the oil out of it, the whole pan will stay wet on the inside after the water comes out. That's part of what you're doing, rubbing with the steel wool or the sandpaper does. It helps break up that surface where the oil's at.
My husband has used these as plates when they have cooked out. It's like, he's a Boy Scout right there. Let's see. There is gold and playground sand at Home Depot.
Yes, there has been people done shows on YouTube,
On YouTube. Yeah.
where they were getting little bits of gold out of that. Very little bit, but a little bit nonetheless.
I'm sorry, I'm a cheapo. I would just jump the fence at the school or the daycare at night and just shovel some. Sorry.
Hey,
It's a joke. It's a joke. Do not report me to YouTube.
you don't have to leave with it. You can sit there and play with it in the sandbox and dump it right back in there.
I like the way you say it.
The great North Carolina sandbox mystery here.
So what are the elements that need to be in the soil to find a good area?
Primarily quartz and gold.
Quartz and gold. I like
Yes.
the way you think, sir.
Because most of the gold does form in the quartz when it is forming, and you'll.
Does it have to be rose quartz? I was always told that out in Arizona.
No, somebody's
Okay.
pulling your leg.
Okay.
Oh, now rose quartz by itself, if it is the right tint and the clearness, is worth a good chunk of money itself. If
I've seen people crack open rocks looking for gold, but go ahead.
they usually open them looking for geodes and fossils when they're cracking rocks. If you're out in a creek or on your little mountain trail hiking and you see little outcrops of rocks and you run across something that looks glassy, that's not glass, not where somebody's busted a bottle or something, pick it up. It's usually some kind of gemstone.
Yeah. Quartz usually, right?
Quartz, rubies, emeralds, diamonds, sapphires. They're all found right here. Hiddenite, North Carolina has a stone called Hiddenite. It's the only place in the world that it's found. And it's right up there in the middle of the emerald mines. You can find rubies and sapphires in South Carolina and northeast Georgia up in there, along with amethyst and let's see, there's hematite. There's all kinds of rocks and minerals in Georgia.
No, silver is in the rocks, though, right?
Yeah, it also follows the quartz as well.
Okay. I got all that. We have a lot of quartz around here.
Most of the silver really comes from out around Arizona, Oklahoma, out in that area, from what I've seen. I haven't really all the way down to New Mexico. There's
Silver City. Yeah.
one of the largest gold nuggets was found in it was either Arizona or the New Mexico, right there on the border. It's called the Cortez Boot. You look it up, it's on display in Las Vegas. They have a hand of God that was found in Australia. I think that's where it was found at. It's also in Vegas on display.
Everything's in Vegas.
Yeah, they bought it, and it was some astronomical amount of money that they paid for.
Gold isn't the only pay dirt. If you're out there and you're finding gems and crystals, you can sell them to the same people you sell the gold to. I mean,
yeah.
How do you know what you have? Write this crayon in the box.
If you can find someone in your area that actually does the lapidary for jewelry making,
mm-hmm.
They can polish them stones, tell you exactly what they are, what they're worth, and have them made in the rings. They can buy your gold and silver to make their rings and brooches and what have you. That would be the place I would go to. There are gold exchanges, places that's not pawn shops that they sell and buy and sell gold.
Right.
You just have to do a Google search in your area to see if there's one in your area.
Right.
Can you imagine how many people have just tossed several $1,000s over their shoulder and just not know about it?
Right. Yeah,
or walked right over it.
Yeah, they just walked over it and never paid it no attention because
right.
Greg wants to know, Wendell, what got you into prospecting?
Well, like I said,
getting out the house.
We went to Delani. We went up to Helen, Georgia, camping, and we stopped at Dahlonega and went through one of those gold mines there in Dahlonega, where you paid a pan for gold and hunt gemstones. And I kind of got up there, and
you got the bug.
Yeah,
yeah.
And according to the history of the gold in Georgia, the first major find was a guy up on Duke's Creek out there hunting, and he tripped on a rock in the stream, and he looked back, and there was one about the size of his foot, and it was nice, shiny yellow. It was, like I say, it was about the size of his foot, but it had been covered up with moss or something like that, and he just fell over it and found it by accident.
Okay, paramedic says, does Wendell know why you can find such large chunks of gold just under the ground in Australia?
Not really. I don't.
Well, that one guy found it right on the beach. Huge nugget. Huge.
Yeah.
He's retired now?
Yeah, I think it was about a $300,000 find back then.
Go ahead, Wendell. I'm sorry.
But there's places all over out there where they're out there with metal detectors hunting that gold, and they find everything from the small little flakes all the way up to big old hunks like that.
Right. It could be anywhere under the ground. in those
Right.
gold-rich areas. Yeah.
Yes. And there is some of the shows I've watched out there where they was over there hunting it, they were following a quartz uh, uh, outcropping. So they're still following the quartz over there. So
Yeah. What about old gold mines?
yeah, you can go to where they dumped all their
Rock.
dirt
Yeah.
and
Right.
rock out, because at the time they would, a lot of the smaller gold they would not really catch because that's after the big gold that they could get. And sometimes you can find some fairly nice little nuggets in the tailings piles. Now, I wouldn't go into them caves unless they've been reinforced since then.
Here's a question. It says, I heard that all the gold in California is in a bank in the middle of Beverly Hills. True or false? I imagine that's a joke.
Well, in
Yeah.
Beverly Hills, it probably is.
Yeah.
It's
But
probably
a little to the north and to the east, you'll find it up there on the mountain.
Yeah. And what was that big place? Sutter's Mill or something
Yeah.
like that?
Sutter's Mill was where they first found their nuggets there in California.
Yeah, and they were just everywhere in the river. You could see them. They just
Yeah.
walked around picking them up.
what about your basic river? Like just like something like the Lumber River that runs through North Carolina. And interesting fact about the rivers, other than the Amazon, southeastern United States are the only place with the Amazon that has the dark, murky water like that. But anyway, but how about something like that? Just going out panning in the river.
Yeah, same thing as a small creek. You find you a sandbar, you can work it, get fine gold, arrowheads, fossils, all that stuff gets washed down out of the mountains.
Paramedic said the Georgia Gold Rush was mostly a lie told by the government to get the prospectors to get the Cherokee off their land to be probed. It was last nail in the coffin before removal. I guess government back then were the kids like some of them are now too, Pyro. William said, I visited Placerville, and I guess I said that Placerville in California a few years ago, right in the heart of gold country. You can still find gold there. What made California the peak of the gold?
The size of the area that has produced gold.
Roger, quit calling. Okay, quit.
They have from basically all the way from South California to North California. There has been gold found all the way from one border to the other.
Craig says, I wouldn't want to get in the water to pan in Australia. Too many crocodiles.
Right.
Yeah, but
yeah, that's the
But
reason
yeah.
out there in the desert doing it.
Yeah. But it goes right into Arizona too. There were a lot of gold mines out there in Arizona.
Nevada, Washington, Oklahoma, New Mexico.
North Carolina has a lot of gold in it.
Yeah.
North Carolina, I don't, North Carolina to me is one of the most overlooked states in the nation for so many things. But I am okay with that.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay. Don't put it out there, but North Carolina is very rich.
Well, like I told you, you get out there in them creeks, start looking for your glassy rocks. They'll be easier to spot than the gold will.
And those will usually be in the river bend. Hey, John, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and the creeks in the river, which a nice green stone that it'll either be tourmaline or an emerald or a piece of hiddenite.
Now, I've seen people take moss off of a rock and also shake it out in a magic mat, like a magic mat, and get gold out of it.
Yeah. So what happens is water running across that moss will be have what go be pushing gold down, and the moss will act like a mat in a sluice box and catch the gold.
But you can't go out there thinking you're just going to go to the easiest place to dig and find a little bit of gold. You sometimes you have to move rocks and break up a little
Yes.
bedrock, and so you need a pick with you. But
Yes.
you've got to work for it. It's not something that most of us will not get rich off of it. But
Exactly.
it's
You're not going to
also
get rich
something.
out here normally. But like I say, in most of your national forests, they allow only a shovel and a pan. So you just have to work the strings with that. That's all you got. And you could put a sifter, uh, a classifier screen over your pan, put the dirt in that, and work it down where the bigger stuff, you take it off, check for nuggets, chunk it, then you work your pan, which you seen them little plastic pan screens that they use like at the beach for kids at the Dollar Tree for $1.
Yeah.
I don't have
That's what
kids.
I've been using for years, is one of those before
Oh,
I
the plastic, like the
yeah,
there's
Yeah.
no screen, like the
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Little strainer. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
I get it. Like sketty strainer. I get
Yeah.
it. Okay, let's move on then. Okay. You've been
that's
using
what
that for
I've
years.
been using for years before I actually spent the money to get a classifier screen from one of the gold pan makers, and it
Wow.
worked fine for me.
Works good. I might have to go to the Dollar Tree then, sir. I'm on a
Hey,
budget. I'm saving for my rack for my Jeep so I can go kayaking all over the state.
Now, if you go and get that kit that I showed you with the sluice box, and it's got the classifiers and gold pans, got the
Mhm.
bottles, and
That was a nice little kit. Yeah, you had a little everything. You got
that is a very good kit for to begin with, or if you're a professional and you lost your stuff in a rainstorm or something, you just get that right back. You're back in business.
yeah. So I mean, Mark says something about going Bigfoot and Golden. That's what my husband, his friends, been doing, Bigfoot and Golden. That's exactly what they've been doing. It just fits right in. You're relaxed, you're in nature, you're having fun, and you're acting natural. So that's
I
exactly
have
what they've
heard
been doing.
stories where people would be down on the creeks panning gold and having rocks thrown at them. Yes, I have. And tree limbs.
Huh.
Or, or, or see, walk around holding your pants pocket open, and the nuggets would jump right in.
Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah. They could be throwing nuggets at you. You never know.
So I know we've been talking about, scattered kind of here and there, going everywhere. But what does someone that's really serious about going out to find them? I know some people use the metal detectors. Do you have more luck on land with the dirt and looking on land and digging on land, or do you have more luck in the creeks?
Uh, if you're in a spot where you can use the dredge, you do better than everybody else. Plain and simple. Because that,
So on the creek.
yes, because, well, even a river, you can use a dredge in the river, and it runs the material through the sluice box, sucking it up out of the ground, off the bottom, and You just have to stop after a while and clean up the mats and paint it out, and you got what you got.
Right. So you only need really a shovel because the flow of the water is what pushes it through the slough, right?
Yeah, on a sluice box, you get
Yeah,
it set up where it's got the water flowing through it at a fast enough rate with enough drop. Usually, I think they say 1 inch to every foot long for drop. I could be wrong on that. That's just one of the ones I've heard. And you've taken fill up the top end, you shovel right there on the top of the sluice box. The water washes the rocks and off down across the mat.
Okay.
Art says pens are mainly used to sample areas to find an area to set up bigger equipment. I think Art's pretty much smarter than they look like me.
Yeah,
that's
that
also a
is
good
true.
point.
That is true. They will use pans to figure out if there's good gold in the area, and then bring in bigger equipment if the government allows it in that spot.
What has been your most eventful day out in the field panning for gold or looking for gold?
Well, I guess when I found that 1 gram nugget.
Nugget, finding a nugget.
Yeah, that was up in Paulding County, Georgia, in a little creek up there.
Wow. So I think here Uwharrie is the hot spot, but like I said, I've heard of 2 people putting their kids through college just panning on the side like that, doing it. So it's out there.
They've found some really good spots if they've been able to do that. Panning. Yes.
Well, I don't know if they were panning. I'm just doing it as a hobby. So.
No, you see more and more people going out now that the price is going so high.
Sort of. There's more people getting interested in it. That's for sure. I don't know how many of them actually winds up going out doing anything. No. A lot of them, like you said, they're newbies. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just out there digging. They're not finding anything. They give up before long.
Oh, so like it's been for the past 150 years, the people making the money are the ones selling the equipment.
Yes. And okay. The ones that stick to it and keep searching until they hit that spot that has the honey hole.
Okay. What do you think a lifetime of doing this? What's the average amount of gold they can find or money value?
It just depends on what part of the country you're in. If you got, like you say, you're using a dredge or pan, it varies. Like I told you, that one guy had that fruit jar. He filled up one weekend. He hit a hole, which I'm pretty sure that was pretty close to 5 or I don't even know how many ounces would have been in a quart-sized fruit jar.
Oh, probably a couple pounds anyway.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Wendell, put your YouTube channel out there. Lavani didn't know you had one. You guys go subscribe.
Please. It's Prospecting USA, Hunting America's Treasures.
It's the name of the thumbnail. So you don't have to run and go find a pen. I'm pretty sure Gary will throw it down, the link of it down there. So we've been going on maybe an hour and 30 minutes. Do you guys have any questions for him or Wendell? Have we not hit on something you wanted to talk about?
I have two groups on Facebook. I got my Prospecting USA, Hunting America's Treasures. Then I have a group that I inherited called California Gold Prospectors and Treasure Hunters. I'm trying to find somebody in that area to take over that group out there and see if they can make a go of it. I'd like to get mine and that one both making some money, because all I'm doing is putting out information for our group, and I'm not making any money on neither one of them.
No.
That would be going out in the field, and I mean, how would you make the money off of that?
If have somebody that has a location that they can go take members to pan and metal detect and stuff like that, they can charge them a couple of dollars fee to,
Okay, like almost like a good, like a membership. You go out
yeah,
together and you learn. Okay, I get that. I get that. And also, even if you don't bring any gold home, you're out in nature.
exactly. You're having a good
Win-win.
time, and
Yeah, I
it's,
would. Oh, go ahead.
it's
Sorry.
just like going camping. You go camping to enjoy yourself. If you find gold, you find emeralds, diamonds, old bottles, or anything that's of value, or Bigfoot, you found something extra. That's all it is.
Right. Jeez.
Greg wants to know if you're going to demonstrate gold panning on the next meet and greet.
Well, I can do that. I just have to have my pan with me. I can demonstrate it.
That's awesome. Terry says, Wendell, I think there's a big gold operation near Alabama, Georgia line near Runburn. I probably slaughtered that, Alabama.
Random.
Whatever. Okay, Runburn. All these $2 words out here. Y'all know I'm simple. It says has big equipment and is deep in the ground, he thinks. Sounds like a heck of an operation there.
Well, he
Go ahead,
is
read
talking
it.
about the Alabama Gold Camp. They have a huge Tremel that they run out there from time to time. They call it Goldzilla. They have 200 acres of property, and they dig up dirt, carry it over, and pile it in beside the high bankers that they rent out. And you just stand there on the creek bank. They got the pumps running. You just shovel the dirt from the pile into the high bankers, and then you clean out the mat at the end of the run, and you pan it out. Most of the time, they'll take the concentrates from that and put it, like if there's 5 or 6 people in that group working the high banker, they'll put equal amounts of the dirt from the concentrates into Ziploc bags, give them to each of them, let them take them home and pan them out themselves.
Huh. Yeah, maybe we could do a show about that. We would all have pans, and if you want, Wendell, no pressure. But if we had pans and dirt here, you could just go through how to do it. We could do it all on the show, maybe.
Well,
like pay dirt, maybe.
Yeah. If my internet and everything had been working better a few minutes ago, I had stuff set up in the garage to show you.
Oh, okay.
I got a little, what they call it's like a plastic rain gutter that's on legs, and you set it over in that plastic tub I told you about from Home Depot with a pump that pumps the water out of that up into the gutter, and it recirculates it so you don't have to just keep having water all the time. And you, I think the little pump up use pumps like 15 or 20 gallons per minute, and you just feed your concentrates in the top of that little. It's got a rubber mat in the bottom of it with little grooves. You feed the concentrates up in the top of that, and it washes it down, and all that's left is some of the back sand and the gold. That's for cleaning up your concentrates. And you can use that big pan to do your own gold panning in. As far as the metal detectors, you can get those from the little, what they call pinpointers, the little for $10 or $15, and that's for like running across the cracks and crevices, or when you dig something up out of a hole, trying to locate it directly, all the way up to the metal detectors that cost $7,000 or $8,000.
Yeah.
I can't afford
I
nothing
know.
like that.
Right.
Wendell, have a question. What's the blueberry bounce?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Wendell, show us the blueberry bounce. LOL from Art.
I have no idea about that.
Okay. All right. Levon says that's your auto warranty, Colin.
You know, most of your panning is used water. There are some processes that are out in the desert where you have like a vibrating table that you throw the dirt on, and it separates the dirt from the gravel with the wind blowing across and blowing dirt off, and the gold stays in the trough and stuff like that. You can do it with a gold pan and tossing it up in the air and catching it. I've seen that done. I've never tried it. Looked like it takes a lot longer than the water route does.
What do you mean throwing it up in the air? Oh, in the wind or something? Or
Yeah, you take
okay.
toss it up,
Yeah,
and catching it back in your pan. The wind is catching dirt particles and blowing it away as it's up in the air. And what's coming back down in the pan is the heavier gold.
I've seen people scrape off the top layer too. They'd swish it around and knock it off, swish it around, knock it off.
It must be.
Wendell's giving me that look. I've seen it. It was on YouTube, so you know it exists.
It does. Yeah, you know
it
it's
may
true.
be. It may exist. I just haven't seen it.
They must already have gotten the heavier particles down into the crease or something.
Well, they said that was when you swish it, it goes.
Yeah,
I'll send you the link if I can find it. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. I was watching you guys on YouTube today. Was that a unicorn in the background on your wall? Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. No, Tennessee, Kentucky. I was watching them today. He says he was late. Did you talk about Coker Creek, Tennessee gold? You know about that?
No, I've not. I don't know anything about any other state than Alabama and Georgia. Those are the only two I've prospected in.
And once again, the first gold rush was in North Carolina, documented in 1799.
You learn something new every day.
I tried to prospect in California a couple of months back. I made a trip out there, but it was so early in the spring at the runoff from the mountains was the rivers and streams was overflowing, and I couldn't get into them. So I wasted a trip.
Before we go, what's the biggest mistake that new prospectors make?
Walking onto someone's claim.
That
I did that.
Yeah.
I heard a shotgun rack, and I just turned around and walked away.
Now, out on the western side of the Mississippi River, most all that land is controlled by the BLM, Bureau of Land Management. They have a list of claims that are active and have going inactive. You can sometimes go in there and purchase a claim from somebody that it's fixing to go inactive from because they've quit working it but yeah, they can usually find out if you're on somebody else's claim through the Bureau of Land Management, and there's a couple of other sites that does the same thing.
So basically, on land that we pay taxes to have maintained, they lease out the land to other people to prospect, and you really can't go to the land you pay taxes on to even prospect.
Correct.
Pretty much. That's cool.
Yeah. That's like California has basically gotten down to the majority of the state is a pan shovel only now. They took away all the rights for the dredging and sluicing and now anywhere on the eastern side of the Mississippi is all private land. You have to get permission from the actual land owners to go on that land, or if it's your land, you have no problems doing whatever you want to do. Now, any of the what they call navigable waterways, you can take a boat up and down. There are some restrictions on those for the dredging. They may have endangered species in them, mussels, fish, or crawfish, or whatever. So you have to kind of check what your restrictions are and the stream you're working. And shoot.
So do you have to leave all the soil you move right there? I mean, is there any laws about erosion or what you do with the soil?
A lot of the places where you're dredging or high banking, they do not want the material that you run through your machine to enter back into the water.
Okay.
So you have to, like the high bankers, you got it over here where the water is actually running down a little ditch somewhere where the rocks and dirt that you're pumping out is being captured into a little pond type thing. And same thing with some of the dredge and so yeah, there are restrictions that you have to check on.
Is that statewide or per area? Okay.
That's every state.
Yeah.
Because like I said, depending, but now it's basically anything that you can drive a boat down of any size, kayak or whatever, is what they call navigable. You have to check and Some places requires permits. Some parts of the state do. Some don't. It it gets complicated trying to find out where you can go and who to talk to get the information. Usually, there may be somebody at a courthouse that would be able to help you, like the probate judge, or if you go like to the Army Corps of Engineers or something like that. They may be able to give you some information.
Okay. So, like you said before, do you find the gold within the black soil or near the black soil? Do you always find black soil?
Yeah.
I mean, you would.
No,
Okay.
not always.
Okay.
There is some parts of the country that there is no black sand whatsoever. But
And they still find gold there.
I think so. I'm not positive because, like I said, the old timers would always tell you you can find gold, you can find black sand without gold, but you can't find gold without the black sand.
Okay.
So if in the places that has no black sand, I don't know if you can find gold there or not.
All
I have
right.
not, because that's parts of the country I have not been into, so I don't know.
Right. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to really try to get back. I talked to like I said, the gem and rock store near here. They're the ones that told me about the gold mine that was near me, but it's a deep gold mine, and there are other ones in the area. I just know there's one near me.
Yeah.
They dug deep for it. Do you think they found it on the surface and just kept trying to follow a vein?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's what they do. They'll find outcropping rocks that's got a little bit of gold poking out there, and they'll just go after it, and it widens or peters out. Either way. Okay. And like up in Dahlonega, they have the Consolidated Mine. They have the Croissant Gold Mine that I know are still open to the public. The Croissant Gold Mine, and they both have equipment for sale. I know the Croissant Mine has pay dirt you can buy, and it has some fairly good gold in it. It can actually have some nuggets in it.
How do you spell that?
Croissant. CR.
Put them on the spot, Don.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. No, I just I was trying to figure out what you were saying. You were saying croissant, CRE.
CRISSAWN.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Google will get you close, I'm sure.
Yeah, just say Croissant Gold Mine, Dahlonega, Georgia.
Dahlonega, Georgia. Okay.
Tammy Ray is the lady that owns. Her family is the one that owns owns it, and they are very nice people. They have a car similar to the one that ZZ Top had that is got pretty much solid gold.
Hey, PJ, when I saw that waterfall, I said the other day when PJ did a video, she showed a waterfall, and I was like, man, you probably want to pan like 3 feet away from there. But she says, Paul said he thinks there may be some black sand in our creek. Maybe we need to go get some equipment. When I seen that waterfall, I was like, pan.
Yeah, a waterfall is a good spot because if up on the top part where the rock is been exposed up there, has a lot of cracks in it. And then where it starts actually getting deeper at the upstream part is like a shelf where the gold would wash in there and settle as it comes down. And then when it goes over the falls and hits at the bottom, it's churning. The gold settles in that churning water, and the lighter stuff is being washed out and you have some really good pockets of gold at the bottom of the waterfall, if there's any there.
Right. Yeah, it's a little different up here because all the streams and brooks are right down to the bedrock. You know,
crack up in the bedrock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You do the crevices.
Yeah, I'll have to do the crevices.
Listen
and
to
there
me,
are
hippie.
Right.
That's his name, y'all. Hippie.
And that's where that cordless shop vac that you can take with you to suck them cracks out would come in handy.
See, that's like a redneck's way of doing the underwater suction. That is so cool. That's so cool.
A battery powered one, I guess.
Doing the deep sea
exactly.
It is. Okay. That's so cool.
18. Mine is 18-volt battery. Okay. And you take 2 or 3 batteries with you, and you dig down in there, loosen the material up, suck it up then you go pan it after you get how much you can get out of there, and see how much of it's actually gold and how much it's not.
Yeah.
Crisson is spelled Crisson.
Okay.
They got the website up there. I got some good mods in there. Okay, so we've been going on almost 2 hours. Do you guys have any more questions for Wendell? I am not being mean to Don. Don is mean to me behind the scenes, and he was picking on hippies tonight. So tonight he is the designated hippie.
I'm just glad we finally got my internet working where we can finish this show.
Yeah, it's coming in good.
I am glad too, and I just enjoyed having you on. Now, will you be having any shows on your YouTube, like a Q&A for people like us that are trying to learn? Or
I haven't even thought about doing a show like that until you asked me to do yours. I've been trying to find people to come on my show and talk about their experiences. But
I didn't know David was.
I think I will do one with my equipment that I have, my metal detectors, my little rain gutter sluice and gold pans, show different sizes and shapes. Stuff I couldn't show you and show you the stuff out of my little kit, my stool that I carry with me with my vials and tweezers and scrapers and everything.
We were going to try to do that tonight, but unfortunately we couldn't get into that. But if you let me know so I can post when you're going to have your show on your channel, we'll share it and we'll jump on. And if you do it live, we'll jump on, and we're going to support a brother.
I may have to do a recorded one on that because the internet, the way it is here up there in my garage.
Okay. Right. Well, we would like to have you back again. I did not know that David was in your gold mining thing, or I would have had him jump on with you, and we could have had
Well, he's a new member. He's
a rookie.
Yes,
that's what I smell. A rookie in there.
He don't really know a whole lot about it yet.
He found a half ounce.
He found
did.
a
I
half
don't know.
ounce of gold.
He found a half ounce in the creek behind his house.
Oh,
That is good.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that yet.
Is he fibbing? Do we
Hey,
need to go get him?
If
I
he's
think
if
he's
he's found
already
a half
left.
ounce gold in the creek behind his house, that creek's going to have a lot more gold in it.
I'm
That-
trying to see
right.
where he put it in here. I had put it up. Here we go. I pinned a half ounce in a little creek behind my house in Northern California. The
Yep.
rookie's making some good progress there, Wendell.
Yes, he is. Because
Yeah.
I had not heard that one. He did not tell me about that.
So beginner luck is a thing. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And if he can
Maybe this
remember
grass
the lay of the creek where he found it and hit the rest of the creek the same way, he'll have a good collection of gold
Yeah.
shortly.
Well, Don Levon did give you she said you're a good co-host. I guess they feel like I'm beating up on you, buddy. That's because that's not the truth. You're still.
Everyone
If y'all-
grows
if
their
y'all-
hair.
If you guys could be behind in the studio before the show started, y'all would have a different perspective.
Oh yeah.
You'd see Don's true colors coming out. It's boy. What
So you
change
would
it
have
for the
seen the
world,
best
Don?
we had out of my internet.
Right.
But you know what? PJ just subscribed to your channel, Wendell. I think Lavani subscribed, and I'm sure other people will go. We'll be looking for those videos. The last one I seen you make, you were doing a test. And I think I was chatting with you in the comment or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I appreciate having you on, but it is Don's job to close the show. So you guys wrap it up, and I'm just going to sit here.
Okay.
Co-host should.
Well, thank you, Wendell. It was really interesting. I learned a few things I didn't know, but I think I'm gonna try a little. I bought a pan about 20 years ago up here, and I don't know what happened to it. I'll have to get another one. But yeah, I thank the chat for showing up tonight, and thanks for the questions. And thanks, Wendell. It was good information, and I hope people visit your site there and check it out.
Well, thank you for having me on. And if you go to my Facebook, you can hit both the groups that I have there. I've got 600 members on Prospecting USA. I think 500 on the California one. There's people posted about the diamonds in Arkansas, people doing hunting bottles and marbles in the mud of creeks and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, good. So there's something for everyone there.
Yes.
So hopefully people in the chat will check it out. And anything else, Miss V? Thank you, Miss V, for being a co-host or
And
host.
thanks both for y'all for having me on.
Wendell, you always have a seat at our table, brother. Always.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was very, very interesting. Well, I think that's about it for the show. And anything else, Miss V?
No, I enjoyed having you on. Thanks to everybody in chat. Tammy, still trying to get that information for you. Everybody in chat, thank you for jumping on and supporting the show. Thank you for being a part of the family. Don's getting better. So, but he'll be hosting some more shows because I'll be in Savannah. I got a relative sick, so he'll be doing some shows by himself. Wendell, you're awesome. Always have a seat at our table.
I'd like to say one more thing. Temu and Amazon, they're your friends for equipment.
Okay. And anything more than just a pan?
Yeah, actually,
isn't there a little tweezer?
that kit the kit that me and Miss V was talking about with the sluice box and the everything, $108 for that kit on Temu.
I'll post
So,
it in
yeah.
my group.
So yeah,
Okay.
Amazon and Temu, they have some good prices on prospecting equipment, metal detectors, just normally the cheaper metal detectors, they're not going to be real good for picking up gold. Now, like I said, that Mine Lab is the top line of metal detectors, as far as I know. And the Go Find 44 that I bought, like I said, I found a bullet shell 13 inches deep with it. But you'd have to have a nugget at least the size of a pinto bean to be able to pick it up a couple of inches down. So the Go Find 66 would be better for it. That has a little more discriminator on it, a little more accurate on the depth and all that.
There's a
All right.
my husband just bought into some technology. He's not here to talk about it because his father had back surgery today, but it actually breaks down the depth a lot more. It's really detailed. It's going to be top of line when it hits the market. If I can get that information and they still are taking, whatever they're doing behind the scenes, I'll see if he can't post the information in my my Muddy Creek group, not the page, but the group. Okay.
Okay. So we all set? I'd like to thank the chat. I'd like to thank Wendell. Let's thank Miss V, and hopefully we'll see everyone Saturday night.
All right, guys.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.